I always say that I feel like a German European because on one hand, of course, Europe has shaped my way of living, and I really feel connected to European history and the whole project of Europe, which is about peace and a common society of people living together and sharing values. And at the same time, I also think that I'm a German because I have my own traditions, and I try to keep my own culture alive, my language, and so I think I am both in one person, and I hope that both, yeah, can be possible, that you can like hold your own identity of the country you're living in, and at the same time also the European identity in your heart and on your passport. The Schengen Agreement, because I think still if I'm in Europe, the most important thing for me is to travel freely and to get to know all the different cultures, to meet other people from Europe. And I did a lot of exchanges, youth exchanges by Erasmus Plus, and got to know other people. And I couldn't imagine that without the Schengen Agreement, without traveling freely from one country to another on holidays, and also, of course, freedom of movement and the opportunity to work in other countries. And I think that did a major job for bringing people in Europe closer together. And so, for me, that was an important moment, yeah. For me, the worst moment during the last years was the EU-Turkey deal, because it showed that we as Europeans are not able to deal with such a crisis as the migrant or the refugee crisis, how you like to call it, together and united. And we were obviously relying, or we were dependent on other countries in our neighborhood without being able to find own solutions, own answers to a problem like that appeared the last years. And so to me it was really a shaming, because we needed to make all these painful compromises and to kind of lose our own values for this. So for me this shouldn't have happened. We should have found some better solutions, some better methods of dealing with this topic, with this problem. And now we see in Middle East and the current situation how the outcome is and how negative the outcome of this agreement is, because we as Europe have difficulties to get into that situation because of this agreement, because we are in fear of having this new migrant problem with Turkey. The best moment was the fall of the Berlin Wall. Also, of course, during the last week, it was commemorated many times again. And for me, it was like the climax, or it seemed to be like a climax of Western values. It was a really important moment after Second World War, after Cold War, that German reunification could start, and people longing for freedom, longing for justice, for their opportunities to go to other countries. But this longing seemed to be heard, and they could see other countries, see Europe, and travel freely. So this was an important moment in European history, I think. At the same time, also this event for me is to connect it to some kinds of problems, because during that time, of course, reunification was preceded by Western German, mostly by Western German politicians, and I mean, during the last weeks and last months, we had elections in Eastern Germany, and the outcomes were quite terrifying, I think, quite frightening. And now we have to ask ourselves about what had happened during the last 30 years, and if in Germany we did some mistakes about it during this reunification process, and people maybe felt lost, and they did not have the feeling, the impression of being heard, of being appreciated, mostly in Eastern Germany, of course. And it is important for me in Europe as well, because I think this is a lesson that should be learned also for the European context, that it is important in the European society, in the different European countries, the member countries, but as well as in the whole European society, to make sure that all people in Europe are heard, and that we don't lose some parts of society or some member states, but we try to integrate them, and that's an important issue, I think. Mostly the opportunity to travel to other countries, to meet young people from other countries via Erasmus Plus, youth exchanges, and to get to know about other cultures and other people, mostly young people in Europe. To focus on a better integration of all member states, and to focus on a better consensus among member states, among different parts of European society, and to be united in a better way than today. It does not have to achieve every single goal like in a percentage, I think, but it is important to create unity among different member states, among people, among groups of societies, to bring them together.